NASA has found something on Pluto that they do not want the public to know about. On August 24, 2006, Mike Brown officially stripped Pluto of its title. The same year, just 5 months later, the New Horizons space probe was launched on a fact-finding mission to explore the further reaches of our galaxy like Jupiter and Pluto. NASA had plans for Pluto, but they needed to have the public more focused on other parts of the mission. To deflect attention, NASA convinced the International Astronomy Union to scientifically redefine planets, so excluded, Pluto would become less important, and fade away, forgotten. This completely backfired. Pluto became the center of attention, inspiring outrage, memes, and even legislation in states like California and New Mexico. Alan Stern, the principal investigator of the New Horizons mission, hired professors and astronomers to vouch for the dwarf planet's status, and make fun of those questioning the decision. Alan wanted to shut down further investigation into NASA's activities. Neil deGrasse Tyson was the biggest scientist he poached, broadcasting hour-long interviews and explanations about Pluto as a dwarf planet. Hired to ridicule and discredit other scientists, he called Pluto a chunk of ice. He convinced his audiences that their unease was simply nostalgia for a planet named after a cartoon they grew up with, putting off the questions they had of why and how all of this happened. The strongest piece of evidence of NASA's cover-up was discovered by Olympus Sky Channel. When he examined the image data from the latest Pluto picture captured by the New Horizons probe, he noticed a few red flags. The supposedly new picture that NASA released in 2015 was actually taken 3 years prior. Another issue was after being converted to a JPEG, there's a 5-hour editing history before it was released. What were they doing with those 5 hours? What were they covering up? Had NASA really arrived at Pluto years earlier to map it out and found something they didn't like? Aliens? Did they erase the evidence from the photos before releasing them to the public? Let's break it down. Pluto, discovered in the 30s, as in 30 Seconds to Mars, the band whose lead singer Jerry Leto was a huge defender of Pluto's planetary status, divided by the three Roman gods Neptune, Jupiter, and Pluto, equals 10, the amount of years it took the probe to reach its closest approach of Pluto, which was actually photographed 3 years earlier than NASA admits, adding its number 1, largest dwarf planet status that NASA ranked it, gives you 4, as in July 4th, the day the New Horizons probe had a glitch and stopped collecting data. Now if there were aliens, the way to get America's attention would be to play with their space equipment on their Independence Day. New York Times science journalist Kenneth Chang was the first to call to attention that organizations had switched their planet exhibits in 2001. This was only 2 days after George Bush was inaugurated. Was Bush working for Alan Stern and NASA? There are still organizations out there fighting to find the truth, not giving up until they unravel all of NASA's secrets.